Now to the latest in the war with Iran, President Trump issuing new demands on Iran, demanding Tehran pay reparations to America. This after the regime issued new demands over the weekend, including U.S. compensation for war damage. For the latest, we go to Newsmax Middle East correspondent Jody Cohen from Tel Aviv.
Good morning. So President Trump suggested that Iran must pay reparations to America and also to Iranians whose loved ones have been killed. Take a listen.
They asked for reparations, you might say, or they asked for money for the damage that we've done. I said, that's a good idea. Well, we're going to ask for money for the damage they've done over a 50-year period. Whether you go SS Cole or whether you go all of the people that were so badly hurt, so badly wounded or killed, many thousands of people, and maybe damages for the 52,000 protesters over the last 4 months that were killed in Iran. We think their family should get damages for killing their person or their child or mother, father.
On Truth Social, President Trump added that Iran should also be held responsible for the death and destruction it has caused in Lebanon, Syria, Yemen and Gaza, and he's instructed his representatives to include this in any future negotiations. Now, this comes after the president said he is low-keying the U.S. approach to Iran, dialing up economic pressure through the blockade of Iran's ports, which he called a steel wall that the U.S. Navy is controlling. However, Iran is still demanding that the United States pays compensation before Hormuz can fully reopen without incidents. And today, 3 people have been killed in a Houthi strike on a cargo ship in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Meanwhile, in a potential warning to Iran, the American and Israeli military chiefs are meeting to discuss ongoing cooperation. And former Mossad chief David Barnea hinted that Israel's eyes are still on Iran's nuclear program, saying that Israel toured the Fordo nuclear site many times before it was struck. Back to you.
Okay, Jody Cohen reporting there live from Tel Aviv. Amir Fakhravar is Senate Chairman for the National Iranian Congress and author of the book Comrade Ayatollah. Darren Gobb joins us, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel, senior geopolitical strategist. Good morning to you both. Darren, I mean, all of this back and forth from Iran, mostly coming from them, to me, is just a delay tactic. They want to get through 90 days. They want to delay this through the midterms. They know they can't hang on. It's just a question of when Donald Trump pulls the trigger.
Absolutely. And in fact, if there was a playbook that you could buy on Amazon, it would be followed to the script so far. I mean, word for word. This is not a surprise. This is exactly what they planned on doing for many years. Those of us who've been involved in this for a long time are watching this go and warning that, this is exactly what they would do. They're going to delay it. They're going to make obnoxious demands of us. And, that's ultimately what Trump did, was kind of flip that script back on them when it comes to getting funding. Neither one of the two is going to happen regardless, but it kind of, it takes the air out of the sails when it comes to their demands for their frozen assets, which, they don't deserve a penny of. So this is just going to continue this way, kind of back and forth for a while, but they're never going to concede to the United States, and they're just going to keep delaying this as long as they possibly can, affect the midterms, affect economies around the world, and hope that they achieve their mission, which is ultimately regime survival.
Amir, how long can they delay this, though? Because Iran is facing 90% inflation. The people are really struggling. They're not able to pay their military, not able to pay the proxies. So assess the state of the regime right now as to the economy and what they're facing.
Thank you for having me. Krisha, we should look at the behavior of this regime. You are saying how long they can handle this when the people are suffering. The question is, do they care? Do really the Iranian regime care how the people are living? We had the people have been suffering for last 47 years. It's half a century, and regime didn't care at all. We lived there in that country, and it was just terror, lying, and torturing the student activists. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
in prison. I have been in prison for 5 years and 3 months under torture of IRGC and MOIS, Ministry of Intelligence in Iran. And the entire families in Iran, all the people, everybody, they have been under this type of horror show always, and nobody cared. In the world, nobody even knew what is happening inside Iran. Everybody thought, yeah, the Iranian people deserve this regime. No, we didn't deserve it. We didn't want this regime. It came up in 1979 by a Russian-backed coup d'etat, which all the liberal medias in the world, they called it Islamic Revolution in Iran. It didn't exist. It was a big lie, which I bring it up on my book, Comrade Ayatollah, and it was the most popular book, history book in Iran, which selling 3 million copies with the new generation.
Right.
They realized it was not such a thing. This is not a popular government in place in Iran, and they don't care. If the entire 100 million Iranians, 90 million inside the country, they die, they don't care.
Yeah.
They just care about those proxies they do have, and they just care about the Shiaism.
Hey, Darren, before we go, I got to get to this. The Washington Post out this morning reporting that after the NATO summit in Turkey last month, President Trump boarded, as we know, the old Air Force One for the cameras. But then the Secret Service whisked him out the other side, supposedly in one of those airport catering trucks, took him to another military airplane and secretly flew him to the United Kingdom, where he then, of course, got on the new Air Force One to fly back here to the United States. And while everyone else thinks he's still on board the old Air Force One, this, according to the report, was due to a credible Iranian threat to kill the president. You know, as you know, I worked in the first administration in the White House. It reminds me of when they used multiple helicopters to fly him on Marine One. It's not for a backup, it's a shell game because you don't know which one he's going to be in.
Right.
Is that what was going on here?
Yeah, it sure seems like it, Mark. I mean, ultimately what you got is the beginning of a movie plot. As soon as that first report came out, there was no surprise at all that there was a threat to the aircraft, and that's why they had to do this. And I think that was obvious initially, but as it expands into, this is what they did, including how he flew to the UK and all of that. It's extreme measures to make sure that these threats aren't realized. And if there was no threat, then so be it. There's no harm, no foul. But you've got to take these kind of steps just in case. And I'm glad they did it. And it'll keep everybody guessing into the future, too.
Darren, I want to stick with you for just a second, too, on this. British officials, they're saying that disconnected cameras on Royal Navy drone boats are discovered here. They were made by Chinese parts. They were sending routine heartbeat communications to an internet address in China. Now, officials say there's no evidence that is sensitive to the military or government data that was accessed. But the discovery is really raising some questions about the vulnerabilities in military technology and supply chains. So are we seeing a new form of digital and cyber warfare? How vulnerable are we right now?
I would say we remain vulnerable to those access points that they're going to use to their advantage. And I don't know if you remember, but about probably 15 years ago or more, there was actually, Fitbit watches and types of things that were getting hacked and looked at, or their signals were getting looked at. And what they did was outline the maps of entire fire bases in Afghanistan and Iraq. So we have to account for these things, and every single time that these technological systems get used, there's always going to be a way for an adversary to use them to their advantage. So yes, we're vulnerable, and it's not because of our defense technology specifically. It's because about those things that we suspect the least are going to be taken advantage of.
Okay, Amir Fakhravar, Darren Gobb, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks,
Thank you.
gentlemen.